Never thought that I would be making this video, but that's the reason why I'm doing it, honestly, because maybe you are in the same situation. You don't expect things like that to happen to you. So if one of you can take the lesson from this video, I'm successful. So yeah, I crashed, and it was, I crashed pretty badly. Here are some pictures of the scene. Let me just talk you through what happened. I was done with practice. It was afternoon, and I was heading back home, about 2 blocks away from my house. And I was chilling in the car, listening to some Kanye, and I was driving in a pretty central road. And there are smaller roads that connect, that do the cross. The thing is that even when you have the priority, you always have to double check. You always have to slow down, because you never know if the guy that does have the stop sign or does have the red light will eventually stop. And that's what I didn't do. I didn't slow down. I didn't pay much attention. And now all of a sudden I see a car in front of me. Split seconds to react. No headlights on his car. And I hit him at the rear left. Airbags come out, and now I'm still moving, but zero vision. I can't see anything. I'm just holding onto the wheel as hard as I can. I don't even think I'm braking at this point. Even the airbag down in my legs came out, and I'm just a passenger in the car. Boom! I end up on a parked car. I come out the car. I'm 100% okay. After I got home, I found out that I had a couple of bruises from the seatbelt and from the airbag, but I was 100% healthy. The other guy did not wear a seatbelt, and he had a cut on his face, but we did call for help. He got the first aids that were needed. I get out the car with no idea what damage I have, no idea what happened, because I had no vision through this whole thing. So I get out the car, I see that my car is totaled from the front. I call my parents, and from that point on, my parents came, my brother came, and every procedure that needed to be taken was taken care of. I wouldn't be able to do that without my parents, because I was not able to function properly that time. And there's way too much stuff that needs to be done with police and insurance companies, and way more than that. And I wouldn't be able to do that without their presence. But enough with what happened in the scene. That's not the point. The point is the lesson that you take from such an unforgettable experience. When you first start driving, you always hear your parents telling you, be extra careful, always double check, because you might be driving all right, but you never know if somebody else. You always have to be prepared for somebody that is not driving, following the rules. And you listen to them, you listen to them, but as much as you do listen to them, you never really understand that something as serious as this can happen to you at any moment, until it does. I remember from the time that I saw a car in front of me, boom, first impact, airbags come out. Now I'm just holding onto the steering wheel as hard as I can. Boom, second impact. I remember through this whole sequence that, let's just say, lasted for about 2 seconds. I just couldn't understand that this is actually happening to me, that this is real. It just did not feel real. It felt fake. Right now I'm at the point where, you're trying to get those images back. You're trying to think about how it felt at that moment, but it's hard. And then for a split second an image comes, and then you get the goosebumps, and your heart rate goes up, and then it's gone back to reality. I'm pretty sure you can feel what I'm saying if you have been through something this significant. But why am I saying all that? I'm saying that because I'm trying to make you understand how unreal it feels at that moment. You never think that things like that will happen to you. And that's how I felt. I felt like things like that will never happen to me until it did. Until it did happen to me. And I know that probably this is how many of you feel. You just don't think that this will ever happen to you, but it might actually do happen to you. And you have the chance to learn from my experience, take that as a lesson, and always double check, always slow down and be careful. Even if you do have the priority, you always have to be careful. Yeah, I know that probably 99% of you will forget about that as soon as they click away from this video, as I would probably do in your position, to be brutally honest. But if that 1% can learn from this, I'm successful. Before I leave, let me show you something that I have here. This is actually from the crash scene. You know, after all the intensity and all the shock had calmed down, I actually searched in the debris for something for a broken piece basically, that would remind me of that night. And I was fortunate enough to find the Volkswagen sign. Here it is. It's kind of broken, but it's alright. That's the purpose, to remind me of what happened. And yeah, now I have that as a reminder, and I'm pretty happy and lucky that I found that in there. I was fortunate enough. And one last thing that I wanted to share is this. If you have been watching my videos, you have probably noticed that I wear a chain on my neck. And it just makes me feel good. You know, I just love the way it looks, so I have been wearing it for the past 1.5, 2 years. The night before the crash, I was sitting in my room and I thought, why don't I put this little sign on the chain? And if you don't know, this sign basically represents religion, represents Christianity here in Greece. And I just said, why don't I put this? Maybe it'll look better just for a change. And then the crash happens the next day. And I realized that the crash happened outside, right outside a church. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know how to feel about religion and Christianity in general. But now I'm even more confused. Maybe I'll have to think about that a little more. I'm just throwing this out there. And yeah, that was it. I hope that you got the lesson. That was the intention of the video, to prevent something like this happening to you. I'm for sure never ever allowing something like this to happen to me again. Remember to stay positive. Remember to stay dedicated. Be better than me. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. I remember talking with my brother after the crash, and he was asking me, how did it feel in the car? Did you move? Did you hit yourself? Are you good? And I remember telling him that it felt so strong on my hands. I was holding onto the steering wheel so strong that I did not move much. It felt like I had so much power. I mean, right now my neck is stiff as fuck, and my nose hurts a bit because I probably shifted forward and hit the airbag. But other than that, I felt so strong in my hands just holding onto the wheel that I did not move much. And then he asked me, did you wear a seatbelt? I said, of course I did. But even if I did not wear a seatbelt, I told him, it felt so strong in my hands that it felt like I did not need a seatbelt. That's how strong and solid I felt, but just holding the wheel. And then I come back home, I go to take a shower, and I realize I have 2 major bruises right at the hip area, one from each side, right where the seatbelt holds you. And not only that, I also see my jacket has been marked by the seatbelt. It also has a mark from the seatbelt. And then you realize, for that to happen, for these two to happen, how much force was absorbed by the seatbelt. It was not just my hands. And I don't even want to imagine what would have happened to me if for whatever reason I was not wearing a seatbelt. So you get the message. Don't ever drive without wearing your seatbelt. Brings me goosebumps just thinking about it. In moments like that, you realize how it can just snap and go. It can really go in split seconds. You won't even realize it. And it might not even be your fault, but that does not matter at this point, because certain things in life you can't get back. And I'm fortunate enough to not have to go through this.